I'm Martin Green, and you're listening to The Portal. If I were you, I'd stick some headphones on at this point because, as ever, it's all about the lows. This is a story about Angela, Etteridge, and me. It's about why I needed them and about how I found them. And it takes in Morris dancing, narcotics, obsessions, both healthy and dangerous, loads of music. It traces a direct connection from some long-forgotten recordings of folk music in the 1940s to a rave in a disused pig-gutting factory in Essex in 1988. Let's start with why I needed them. Like all things, it came in waves. A wave could be described as a disturbance that travels through a medium from one location to another location. Life is full of waves, massive waves of unconsidered emotion at unexpected moments, and waves of sound which are invisible, intangible, but yet undeniably real. And waves of behaviour, patterns that fluctuate on a cycle. And if you learn how, those waves are controllable. That's how come you can hear my voice. We've learned to capture them. A wave has a cycle, that's how we measure it. A note, a musical pitch, is determined by how many times a second something vibrates. That's the speed of the cycle. This is A440. That reed just vibrated 440 times in that 1 second, although actually my accordion's a bit out of tune. But somewhere around 440 times in that second. That's obviously a very fast wave. Waves of behaviour are slower. But if you look from a distance, you can still see pattern. It's 5 a.m. May Day, 1988. And my dad's got me out of bed before dawn to dance in the new season with the Morris dancers on a hill in Cambridgeshire. 3,000 years ago people lived on that hill. And I found out recently that there have been raves up there. But that morning, it was pretty sparsely populated. 6 dance, 2 play music, plus the Fool, and the Tup. The Tup is like a mascot for the Morris team. And for anyone that doesn't know that word, it just means ram. The Tup in my dad's team was a puppet head on a pole. It's actually made from a squeegee mop, so its mouth would open and close. I've always hated it. Furry face. Once white, it was now filthy grey. With a crooked mouth, lines of stitching where its eyes should be, and no body, just sackcloth hanging down from under the head that enveloped the person holding it. The tallest dancer in the team would dance as the Tup. 6 foot of man, 4 foot of beast. That's 10 foot of Tup towering over me. It's just a man in a costume, my mum would say. Aye, but so are the Ku Klux. We don't need to be told what to fear. But she's right. I'm 9 years old now, I shouldn't be scared of the Tup anymore, it's just a man in a costume. At least when I'm awake. And that was the first day I asked myself, but how can I be sure I am awake? That morning, the shouts of men, bleary-eyed and pushing through the hour to present enthusiasm to each other for the task in hand. They rolled a beer keg up the hill. It was 5:30 a.m. when they opened it. The beer holds no interest to the 9-year-old me, so I wander away to throw lumps of chalk at the sides of the small Bronze Age quarry, enjoying the clouds of explosive dust in the misty air. I threw so much chalk at the wall of that quarry, for a moment I couldn't see anything else but a beautiful white cloud suspended in the mist. And that much I feel I can guarantee you. Those are finite, graspable memories. What comes next is hard to know, Like overworked clay, I've revisited these thoughts too many times, and each time they lose a little form. They slip further and further into the dream realm. But as I think it happened, or it didn't happen, it goes like this. The dust clears and I can see movement all around me. Faceless figures move in chaotic unison. There's something wonderful about them. These people move as one, yet each in their own way. A place where faces mean nothing. No words greet me, but I feel immediately welcome, at ease. Their dancing is a wild ecstasy of movement. So far from the rigidity of the morals, this has some other flavour of togetherness. There is something thrilling about engaging with others in a unified act. The dance is like water, like trees, just a state of existence, with a beginning far beyond my understanding and an end I had no wish to search for. I know it will be okay to join them, and I allow my body to loosen in readiness to dance. My eyes fall to my feet, to a pair of Velcro Gola trainers. I feel for the first time free enough to give myself over entirely to the experience, to join this herd. But when I look up, sackcloth at my face, the tuck. 6 foot of man, 4 foot of beast, 10 foot of tuck towering over me. How does a creature with no eyes stare? Crooked, stitched mouth seems to be smiling at me. The herd begins to dissolve into the chalk cloud air, and I rush to be with them. But the tuck blocks my path. There seems no way round it. The herd mere vapour trails now. I try to outstare the eyeless face, and the tuck steps forward. I run. I run out of the pit, chest burn and nausea, tripping and scraping as I go through brambles and head-high nettles. Blood and mud splatter my Morris whites and the sting of nettles burns my cheeks. I run back to the Morris dancers, to my dad. And the top has stood over me ever since. It has invaded my dreams every sober night of my life since May the 1st, 1988. Its power seems to come from keeping me on my own. The more I am alone, the stronger it is. And for a long time, I let it. I even preferred it. It was more comfortable alone with the tuck. I didn't tell anyone. Till 2017. So what do you do? What do you do if you're haunted? What do you do if you can't get rid of something? What do you do if something comes back to you and comes back to you and comes back to you? Well, what can you do? You can either take action or you can live in inaction, and if there's a choice between inaction and action, well, you've just got to do something, and eventually I did something. And I read every book that I could find, and I looked up tucks, and I looked up rams, and I looked up Morris dancing, and I spent my life looking at the 1st of May and trying to work out what had happened, why did it happen, and why wouldn't it stop? Well, if you look at enough books, eventually you're going to come across something that might be useful to you. And I did. In 2016, I'd been in the British Library, again, looking at various works by Cecil Sharp and Francis Child and people that I thought might have found something that might be useful to this quest. On my way out, I went to the bookshop. Well, why wouldn't you? I found a book called 1,000 Years of Dance by G.E. McCaskill, assisted by Angela Dixon. It was in one of those wire baskets that you get bargain shoes in. It had been variously priced at $16.99, $9.99, $3.99, and by the time I bought it, I got it for £1. It seems books on traditional dancing aren't as popular as one might imagine. I picked it up for my dad, really. But it never got that far. I looked at it on the train. I'll never go across that mile of track at Darlington again without thinking of that moment. In that book, I found a photograph that made my stomach clench and my teeth ache. There in those pages was the tuck. Not any tuck, I've seen thousands of tucks. The tuck. My tuck. Direct from my nightmare. The photo is credited to George Etteridge McCaskill, 1941. That was the first document. So much of this hinges on documents. All sorts of documents, notebooks, cassette tapes, wiretapes, wax cylinders, scrawled notes in margins. Documenting was what Angela and Etteridge did, and that's what this story is about. It isn't about me. It's about Etteridge and Angela. And it's a story I don't really want to tell you, and I wouldn't have told you, but Angela wants me to tell you. I don't think Etteridge would want anyone to hear this story.
To deliver the
Here's
1954 Cecil Sharp Memorial Lecture, Dr. G.E. McCaskill.
We may never know what causes people's desire to gather in groups to dance, but this much is clear. Customs revolve around traditions often associated with times of year. The 1st of May, for example. The changing of the seasons was of particular importance.
I think it's fair to say he's not the guy that's going to start the conga. But I have come to respect Etteridge. He was kind of brilliant in a deeply uncool sort of way. This is from 1973 from the BBC's short-lived arts programme Le Louvre. Jazz fans will recognise the theme as the track of the same name by French guitarist Jean Chapeau-Chien.
Le Louvre.
George Etteridge McCaskill had an interesting life. Born in 1920, the son of Right Honourable Sir Henry McCaskill, a judge and Liberal peer, and Dorothy McCaskill née Etteridge, herself a remarkable collector of folk music. The young George was sent to Harrow following the death of his father, only to be expelled a year later. From the age of 14, he was homeschooled by his mother Dorothy and referred to himself only by her maiden name. He went on to have a brilliant
By the time I go looking for
academic
Etteridge,
career,
he's long dead.
instrumental in creating
But the publisher of that
new
book
methods
tells me Angela is still alive.
compared to
So I do a bit of
society
research about Angela Dixon, which is a name I kind of knew, but I didn't know anything about her. For a brief time, Angela was a cult figure, academic turned artist, and a brilliant mind. So I do something I haven't done for a long time, and I wrote a letter to a stranger. It seemed so magical and precarious that this physical object was going to make its way from Scotland to Angela Dixon's flat. Somehow so much more magical and precarious than texting. The response came back by text. Heavy on the emojis for a 90-year-old. Come and meet me if you want. Record player, headphones, sushi.
Zoom H6.
So I get on a train and go to Reddit.
You've only got one channel on. That's in mono. You have to press the
I will
left
happily
right
confess
button.
I am utterly in awe of Angela.
Here's your lugs. It's all about the lugs.
This is a woman that taught George Martin how to make tape loops. She was the first person to put an entirely sonic exhibition in the Museum of Modern Art in New York. There are rumours she snogged Hendrix in a loading bay at the Albert Hall. And it turns out she's a bit of a raj.
I've modded my hearing aid. I could hear a bat piss in Bradford now, so you may as well speak up. So, what do you want to talk about?
For the first half hour, I just spouted nervous, sycophantic nonsense at her. But she was keen to get to the point.
I shall be dead for a very long time and alive for considerably less, so if we get to the nature of your interest quickly, that might be good for the both of us.
The tub. I want to know about the tub. I've got a problem. I think maybe you could help me with it.
The top.
Yeah, the ram's head thing from the Morris dance. You know the thing I mean? Like the photo in your book here?
Yeah, I know the thing. Etteridge did some work around it.
I've got a problem. I have these dreams about him.
I think that thing killed it.
1st of May, 1970, Headington Quarry, Oxfordshire. We see 6 plus the Fool dancing in standard formation, very much in the style of... Angela, I'm recording this version of The Cuckoo's Nest. You said you liked it, but I think it's a variation on... I'll be honest, Angela, I just wanted to speak to you. I feel I'm seeing it a lot. see it so much that when you were here, I just don't think I've got much more in me. This wretched beast is going to get the better of me.
A wave can be described as a disturbance that travels through a medium from one location to another location. And life is full of waves, often easier to see them at a distance. In an attempt to remember why I even started this hunt for Etteridge, the man who I believe was connected to me through a nightmare, I looked from a distance. School, a brief flirtation with education, and into the quagmire of my teens, which were dark, like my goth sister's black-walled bedroom, the stench of cheap joysticks and the sound of The Cure. I tried to see Etteridge's life from a distance too, that same point in life, expelled from Harrow. His mother was almost the only person he spent time with. He didn't even have a goth sister to argue with. A wave will assume a natural position, the equilibrium or rest position, and the top was heavy on me then, taking full advantage of the hormonal imbalance and overindulgence in the still exciting world of pop. The dark resin throat burn of the 1990s. I never dreamed then. I think the pot helped that, kept the dream away, or I don't remember having it. Either way, seems safest to stay in. Who knows what's out there? But that was a long time ago. Things have got easier and harder since then. In 2017, Etteridge has been dead for 41 years, and I went to visit Angela, now 90 years old, in her flat in Radie. I'll be forever thankful that I recorded this conversation.
Biscuits. Have as many as you like.
Angela is in equal parts utterly beguiling and fucking terrifying.
I want to know about the tup.
The tup.
Yeah, the ram's head thing from the Morris dance. You know the thing I mean? Like the photo in your book here?
Yeah. Etteridge did some work around it. I saw it in Yorkshire. I think they only have it there. It was in the Hoving. You know about the Hoving?
A little bit from your book. I'll look into it. Look, this is weird coming from someone that's just appeared out of the blue, but can I start a conversation? I probably shouldn't.
Oh, thank Christ, this has become interesting at last.
Here, this thing.
1,000 Years of Dance book. It's not a great bit of work. Now, you first. Tell me about the tup. What happened to you?
This tup, the one in the picture here. I've nightmares about it. It haunts me. Started when I was 9 years old. I went up the hill at dawn to dance with my dad, the Morrisman.
When? What time? Facts. We won't get anywhere without facts.
Yeah, sorry. Must have been 5:30 in the morning, May Day, 1988, with my dad and the Morris dancers.
Skulls and bones and shields of some long-forgotten battle below the roofs and far from the sight of those on the surface. But he saw them there, these scattered.
I sat in that flat and spewed out all this stuff. Stuff I've never told anyone. And the first person I tell is a 90-year-old woman I've never met. Maybe that's easier. I'm not going to play you that bit. It's bad enough listening to my nasal monotone at the best of times. I'm just keeping that bit for me. Angela was so dark that first meeting. And I think I came away feeling that's maybe who she was. But since then I've realised there's a lot more to her. There was a lot of joy and a lot of difficulty that made up Angela Dixon.
Seemed very comfortable with it.
I did. I haven't felt like that in a long time. I'm free.
I did envy you, actually. The freedom you had.
I'd actually say that I may prefer that.
I wouldn't see those sides of Angela till much later. But it was good just to sit there and talk to her about that dream. I must have been talking for 20 minutes.
Can I catch a rollie?
Yeah.
Cheers.
I found him crying one night. I've never seen a man cry. I'd gone to his room late. Etteridge was usually up late. He was sitting on the floor with his knees to his chest, shouting to no one. I asked him many times about that night. He never said anything. Just a fever or an overindulgence in wine. But I started to notice things. He wrote about
Hearing
it
Angela
sometimes
talk about the tub
in his notebook.
and Etteridge, that was a massive moment for me.
Must have made 500 copies. All with the eyes scratched out. And no, you hold no power, scrawled on them. Scrawled like a child. And he had such beautiful handwriting normally. He began to leave gifts for it. I always said, I don't care if you want to drink yourself to death, that's your business. I've met lots of alcoholics, most of them were arseholes. He wasn't. I did love him, but you couldn't be with him. No one could. He was married to the tub, really, I think. You should go to his room at the university. They've kept it just as he left it. You just have to make an appointment. I've never been back. Anything he had about that thing will still be in there. And then last night I saw him. Well, that was the kind of... the end. I don't... Look, I'm sorry, I'm suddenly tired. Could we finish this another day?
Yeah, of course.
We never did carry on that conversation.
Can I help with anything?
I got a train back to Scotland, went on
Pass me
tour,
that blanket, would you?
and we had a baby.
I'll let yourself.
It just never happened. In 2017, I'd written a letter to a stranger, a half-forgotten cult figure of modern recording. In 2018, Twitter tells me she is dead. I was so much sadder than I expected to be. The act of a force in a given direction creates a disturbance in the wave. A week after she died, a box arrived at my house. Instructions for delivery to me after her death. Actually freaked me out a bit, to be honest. And I found it hard and a little bit scary to her.
2017.
Inside, 98 recordings of various sorts. Some reel-to-reel, a lot of cassettes, and one mini-disc. Throwback. I'm old enough to own a tape deck, geeky enough to own a reel-to-reel, but the mini-disc threw me a bit, and I sent it off to my goth sister to transfer to hard drive for me. This tape was labelled Play Me First, so eventually...
I want these to go somewhere once I've shuffled off. You'll get them there. I hope you can make something with them. Document as art, art as document. I don't know. And maybe you don't want to. That's fine. But you seem somehow connected. there is a lot to go through, but there's half a story here. You'll find the other half in Etteridge.
Angela sent me this huge box of tapes. Loads of recordings, spanning more than 40 years. Susan Sontag, who was a contemporary of Angela's, and we know that they met at least once, said all photographs testified to time's relentless melt. And just like photographs, audio recordings have an interesting relationship with time, because recordings have to be made over time. They have to have duration, but the purpose of recording is to transplant time. Good recordings evoke enough of an experience that has already happened to give us a sensation of that at some point in the future, which allows us later on to play around with time, to pick and choose these frozen moments. The word record comes from the Latin cor, meaning heart, to recorder, which means in Old French literally to learn by heart. And I love that that's how we get this word, because so much of this is about heart. For ages that box of tapes just sat there. My wave was at rest. I was scared, stultified. I've been to Angela, and she's confirmed something really important, that this nightmare was, if not inherited, at least shared with this man, Etteridge. It had clearly taken Etteridge down, and I think that's what scared me. And she was dead. For some reason, that's scary as well. But eventually I did get into it. But someone drops 40 years of an incredible life onto your doorstep. I mean, check it out. She did some stuff. Those first clues arrived to me as physical objects, as recordings. And the second clues were physical too. They were his notebooks. And I'd like to say thanks again to the Vaughan Williams Memorial Library for access to his notebooks. It's surprisingly affecting to feel connected to Etteridge through these objects. There's such a level of detail in these books, and I feel the first wave of empathy with Etteridge, hiding from the macro of the world in the micro of obsession. As I go through his notebooks, I feel us on similar journeys, or maybe I just want to. The notebooks offer nothing much to our story until 1942. Etteridge is 24, and he's just left the army. From his notes, it seems like he didn't hate it in the army. He was a low-level code breaker in a sub-subsection of a team of brilliant mathematicians. But the herds of men, they made no sense at boarding school, and they made no sense in the officers' mess. One letter to his mother says, "They are just animals, and why must they insist on calling me Georgie?" But a bad chest infection set his asthma off, and he did all he could to let it, which led to his being sent home in March 1942. Blissful.
Angie!
Oh, thanks for waiting.
Angela.
Was he there? What did you think? I just made something up.
We know bits and pieces of her early life.
Anywhere that's not striving. Pa's worse than ever, I can't stay.
No more joyous than Etteridge's, I fear.
London?
As I say, we don't know much, but I'd be fairly confident she still had a particular turn of phrase.
I was near keeking myself.
Etteridge scurried back to Oxford to continue his academic work. It seems he had no one waiting for him. Etteridge had never really been into girls or boys. He was not keen on physical contact. And with no lover to keep him in Oxford, he wasted little time. A week after he left the army, he boarded the sleeper train to Glasgow to continue his obsessive research into the ancient hoving ritual. A hunch had led him to lowland Scotland. I spend long enough in Etteridge's notebooks, I feel like I can imagine him. I can sense his frustration, fighting the urge for the first pint of the day in a freezing, draughty hotel.
Have you any other books? I've read The Raymond Chandler already, and I wondered...
Two, sir. Daphne du Maurier's Frenchman's Creek, or the Bible. Mrs. Carmichael, that is to say Betty, said that's all we needed. Allowed for both entertainment and improvement. I need time for either myself, but she was...
He had made many such trips in his early career. The pattern was always similar. He'd board up in a cheap hotel and put out word that he was collecting songs and paying £1 a time for any he didn't have. Looks like nothing much happened the first week.
Oh, and perhaps a pint of heavy. Settler, mid-morning treat.
It's 9:20, sir.
His letter back to the university.
Yes, it is. I rise early.
There is little to report from Straven. I have been here the better part of a week. The war has taken most of the men and almost all the pipers. With the women twice as busy, there is little to record. Those I have found offer nothing of significance.
Yes? You the recording man?
Tuesday there are a couple of entries.
Yes. You busy?
Slow morning.
God, no.
Man with fiddle.
10:05 a.m. Tuesday, 30th of March.
This is the oldest existing field recording of Etteridge's.
1942.
So many wax cylinders haven't lasted. And this was the first outing of the university's new wire tape machine. I've seen pictures of it. Man, it looks heavy. A couple of 1,000 miles away in Germany, magnetic tape was being perfected and was about to change the world of recording forever. But for now, we just have this crackle fest to listen to.
My haircut?
Yes, just back.
Action?
Intelligence. Nice and warm, was it? No, actually, bloody freezing. So, please tell me, for the recording, what do you play?
Documents. Etteridge was a man of documents. That word comes from the Latin for teaching, and this is perhaps an interesting difference between these two people. Etteridge documents, and Angela records. For me, record, as a noun, will always mean vinyl LPs. And we're currently listening to a record that Angela produced in the late 60s with Dusseldorf band Light of the Cthulhu, which became the soundtrack to her infamous acid tapes.
The question is, would you do it again? Just be honest.
Well, okay, probably not.
I have found as I go through all this stuff that I feel her life in her tapes, but I feel his life in his handwriting. I sense more heart in the change of pen stroke than I hear in his recorded voice.
So, please tell me, for the recording, what do you play?
And now we get to the really magical aspect of recording.
Your music.
Because we can share something with Etteridge.
How wonderful.
Share something with a dead guy we've never met. Because we can hear what he heard in a freezing hotel in Straven in 1942. Which is surely a little bit of magic in the universe. We can imagine him, sat there in the warmth of the fire, in the glow of an afternoon pint, ready to hear from the bearers of tradition, perhaps to unlock this mysterious, beautiful traditional music once and for all. Sadly, it's just dire. And to be honest, there was a lot of that. I'm not sure all the people that came to see Etteridge were even musicians. A shilling was a lot of money. There are 113 recordings from that trip alone, and none of them have anything much to offer. I'm sure Etteridge had become despondent by the end of that. He'd been so keen to get to work.
Would you order me a cab, please? I have a 3 p.m. train to Glasgow.
A build-up and a letdown.
When should I leave?
The tup feeds on such things. I know that myself.
I would say 2:30.
Stronger with every little failure.
Going on down by the market. I'm not sure which way you'll have to go. Betty always used to say it was quicker to go round by St.
But on Wednesday, in Straven, in lowland Scotland, on March the 31st, 1942, she had come in.
You're early. I said 2:15. You must wait. I said you must wait.
Sorry to bother you, sir. A girl down there to see you. I told her you'd not want
Two
to
things I do remember about
She's
science.
insisting on seeing you.
First, the superimposition of two waves will always result in something complex occurring. And secondly, always label everything.
I've come to sing for money.
Young lady, the doctor's not got time for this now. He's a very busy man.
I've come to sing. For money.
Well, I'm terribly sorry. I'm just leaving. What is it you sing, my dear?
Songs.
Well, that's a jolly good start.
If you're sure,
We'll never
sir.
know why Etteridge changed his mind and recorded Angela's song.
Tell the cabby to wait, sir.
Just one more document to add to the
Do you
collection,
know what I do?
perhaps.
I'm a student of the folklore of this country. I collect the songs of the common people, and especially the travelling people.
But I'm travelling people. Ask anyone, I'm for the camp. Behind the tip, you can check.
What song were you going to sing?
Long Lankin.
I have that.
Thomas the Rhymer.
I have that 3 times already from the borders.
Caw the Yows.
I don't consider Burns to be traditional. If you've nothing specific to the area, I really have to be going.
My love is as the blossom, specific to the area.
My love is as the blossom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that.
Angela was 15 years old, but I don't believe she was any less fierce or any less remarkable than when I met her 75 years later.
I have a little tape left, but be quick. I'll give you 4pence.
I was told a shilling.
Goodness, you're not shy. Look, I have to take my cases downstairs. I have
Angela is about to make the first recording in a lifetime of recordings, and it is going to mess Etteridge up. Etteridge, so meticulous in almost everything, wasn't even in the room. He'd gone to take his cases to the cab. That original wire tape still exists. I've seen it. In an uncharacteristically slapdash hand, it is simply marked Straven. He could have saved himself so much time if he'd just bothered to get a name. The first pill I ever took wasn't a pill. 1999. Terrible night at Brixton, pinned to a chair in the flat of a stranger, Tekken 3 blurring before my seasick eyes. And the second one took me to the multicoloured University of Love. A pulse is a single disturbance moving through a medium from one location to another location. A repeating disturbance moving within the wave that endures over a prolonged period of time.
Undeniable vibration in this room, and that is only physics, and we are only chemistry. We are only the things that we are made up of, and the space that we are.
Pulse in my wave was a bring and buy sale of endless Saturdays and the endless Wednesdays that followed them. But the Wednesdays were fine, because for the first time I felt like I'd found a herd. Things change though, desires change, and the Saturdays got fewer and the Wednesdays seemed to last for 2 days. The law of diminishing returns and the Tup are great friends, I think.
So allow yourself to move, because it's absolutely fine. We are here and we can create euphoria.
If I'd never seen the photo in that book, I would have left this. And if Angela hadn't sent me the box of tapes, I would have left this. But given that those things did happen, the waves changed shape, and so whatever happened that May Day, 1988, at 5:30 in the morning, some part of that stayed with me. I asked my dad about it while we were making this show, and he said that Morris team didn't even have a Tup. This is a search, then, based on the vastly unreliable document of my slightly squished mind. And I'm doing my best to apply some of the rigour of the obsessive Etteridge. It's a strange part of this story that whilst Angela was definitely the cause of the disturbance in Etteridge's wave and his battle against the Tup, Etteridge was equally the disturbance that changed Angela's fortunes. It was Etteridge's money that allowed her to leave in the first place.
Where will you go?
Anywhere. London.
Wherever you live.
I'll work it out.
Your cousin Freddie.
It's 1942. Angela was 15 years old, and she'd been to Edinburgh once and Glasgow twice when she got on the train to London.
Peter, hello. After you.
Etteridge is about to find his rainbow, and the quality of his note-keeping is such that we can almost see him change. When I was kindly granted access to his notes to do this project, 2 things struck me. Firstly, how beautiful his handwriting was. Honestly, I wish you could see it. It's joyous, it's stylish, but it's clear. Secondly, just how many notes that man made. I've spent months in these books, and after a while, like the guy in The Matrix who can look at the code and see moving images, I could tell his mood slightly harder, forced pen strokes, frustrated. Regular notes of nothing of merit. And then sometimes faster, more excitable. This is unusual, and you feel him off on some flight.
It'll be your one wild act of the year.
And sometimes there's just nothing in his notebooks. I feel his darkness on those days. At the back of one book he had just written the word no, maybe 700 times, over and over on the same line.
Are you Freddie?
Yeah?
Angela. I'm your cousin, Angela.
Gosh, yeah, wee Angie. Come in, hey, come in. Jill, stick the kettle on.
My ma said to look you up.
Of course, of course. We're family, eh? Gotta look out for our own folk, eh? You can stay here, pet. Of course you can.
There we are, Peter.
Etteridge and Angela left Glasgow exactly 24 hours apart from each other, in almost exactly opposite states of mind. Her ready to start a new life, excited by all the possibilities, and he feeling, for the first time perhaps, that he wasn't the academic he hoped to be.
Damn. Gone out. Have you a match? I think I might call it a day on this game. All the time I was doing service, I was dreaming of leaving the army, of getting back and continuing my research, and now I'm here. I'm not sure. Another pint.
I can't. Yes, tutorial in 10 minutes.
I shouldn't. Wouldn't do to get into the habit.
I need to find a job.
Of course you do, but I can help there.
Can you get me a job? Where do you work?
I work for no man hen. I work for me.
An entrepreneur, Freddie, aye. What you in, moving petrol, ration books?
Feckin' family spirit, I see, hen. No so wet behind the lugs, eh? Folks are needing stuff. A lot of that stuff folk can't buy in the shops. You'll have been up all night on the train, no doubt. Away you go. Lassies need their beauty sleep.
Happy with the new cataloguing system. I learned a great deal about alphanumeric coding while I was away. Go on, grab any tape and read the 27-digit code to me, and I shall tell you time, genre, and OS coordinate.
Etteridge, so particular as a cataloguer, had failed to label the recording that would change his life the most.
You need to lie down, Petal. Use my bed. There you go, sweetheart.
You're staring, child. That's rude.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Where you from?
Straven.
Where in the hell's name is that?
Scotland. Where are you from?
Where do you think?
London.
Big place, is it, Straven?
It's a big word, girl. I'm from Jamaica.
In the Caribbean?
Only one I know of. Now be quiet. I was up till 5.
Etteridge sat at his desk and put Angela's recording in the machine for the first time. And just like me, in the only club in Saffron Walden in 1999, he was about to blow a tiny bit of his own mind into a million shards of rainbow. As I mentioned before, that wiretape still exists. I've seen it. But it's blank. I don't think we're ever going to hear what was on that tape. There are also over 200 other copies. I've listened to them all. They're all blank. I don't know if Etteridge wiped them, I don't know if Angela wiped them. But I don't think we're ever going to hear it.
A sound was made, vibrated a diaphragm, interrupted a flow of electrical current, and using science we can capture that like a fluctuation. Record that fluctuation in current, keep it on a wire tape, and recreate it through a machine to another diaphragm, a speaker, interrupt the oxygen and nitrogen in wonderful invisible waves, and like ripples on a pond, eventually into a final diaphragm, a human ear. No, it's a shoebox. Yes. The point is, Peter, we can contain emotion on these recordings. Tell me that is not magic.
Was she pretty?
I genuinely don't know. I barely remember her. She arrived as I was leaving.
I don't know where I'm going.
What did Freddie say?
I'm to take this package of ham to the Red Lion, Denmark Street, like Rodie said.
Have you looked in the package?
No.
Always look in the package, love, always. Could be anything in there. If you get caught, you need to know what you're carrying, because you can be bloody sure Freddie's not going to bail you out.
Do you deliver things for him too?
No, pet. Me and the girls work in the other room.
The other room? In Freddie's room?
Well, it's only Freddie's room when he's in it. With men, pet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what happened there?
You ain't had bombs in Scotland.
Etteridge never uses the word tup in his journals, but we see better and an answer. His ink changes from black to blue. And I really believe, for some short time at least, he had found a way to banish his beast. In the weeks that followed their journeys down from Scotland, Etteridge's journal entries start later and later. I imagine him listening late into the night in a little whiskey bottle. And Angela must have got more and more confident finding her feet in London.
Oofed. I am beat. Been all the way down to Croydon, then all the way back up to Finsbury Park. You got a fag, Mary?
You're too young for smoke. What would your mother say? Here.
Thanks. Where's Fred? Better give him his cash.
In the bloody only real bed in this flat with Lady Liverpool.
How'd you get on, Hen?
Yeah.
You've been doing good, Angie. Tonight's different, okay? No buses. You get a cab straight there. Straight there. You didn't stop for none, clear?
Freddie, are you going to pay me for the work?
Pay you, Hen? Pay you? The work you do for me, well, that just covers the board and lodging. If you want extra, you need to do extra. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Kinda.
Well, if you want to be extra, like the girls, then you get something to keep, like they do.
Well, I don't want to do that.
That's your choice. Better get moving, Hen. Don't want to be late with the delivery, do you?
No, you couldn't, mate. No, you couldn't.
You fucking could.
You'd be fucking blue in the face.
You fucking... Hey, well...
Go and find your mammy. Go and find your mammy.
Hey, why so fast, Hen? Come and say hello. Eh? This here's Jim, Hen. A government boy like me.
Right.
We were at school together. Just back for the fighting for his country. A fucking hero.
Hello, sweetheart. Well, you definitely brighten the place up a bit.
And a dazzler in his uniform, Angie? Dazzler. Come on, Here. You should show a hero some gratitude, Here, we'll call that a present, Jim, on the house.
I know.
I'll give you something for it, and you can keep the cash from tonight.
No way.
No, I'm not doing that.
Baby man, it's no bother. Let's just have a drink. You're a fucking hero, Jim, fighting for your country. You're Freddie. And this little boy will do as I say.
It might have been the blackout that saved her. Angela finds herself utterly alone in the pitch dark in the middle of London. What do we mean by compulsive? What does it mean to repeat behaviour? Etteridge had found this temporary rainbow in the form of a recording of Angela. And he listened long into the night, every night. But I see in Etteridge's life, and I see in my own life, the comfort of doing the same thing lots of times. And I also understand that some of the things that I decide not to do, I still do. He'd been riding pretty high, by Etteridge standards. It was all Saturdays for a while, and the massive down was nothing to do with his up. On the 9th of June 1942, his mother died.
It shows little consideration to those in attendance to fail to properly... Why?
I like to assume I'm in control. I think we mostly do.
I'm sorry.
I think Etteridge definitely did.
Why would one not organise properly an important event? I shall set about arranging my own funeral now. Details will be left in my safe.
I think it's a fair guess that the summer of 1942 was, for Etteridge and Angela, one of the hardest times in their lives. We don't know a great deal about what happened to Angela in the months after she left Freddie's flat. She talks about it a little bit in a conversation that was recorded in the late 60s. And it seems for a while, she got a job washing up in a London hotel, and her only possession was an alarm clock. She would sleep behind bushes in Hyde Park, get up at 5, go to work. She tells a story also of working night shifts in the same hotel and sleeping in the laundry cupboard and hoping no one finds her. Something Angela did say about that period of her life, which I find quite pertinent and beautiful, is that some lives are never recorded. Huge portions of the world go in and out of existence without ever being documented. I think that hard time in London was something that spurred on her drive to document what she called real life. His mother died. I mean, that's terrible for anyone, but he's got so few friends.
You disgraceful beast.
Where does that leave you then? Pretty fucking low, I think. Etteridge didn't write down emotions because all we need are facts. Well, if we have enough facts from the same source, we will begin to infer emotions, and that's what happens here. I can tell. I can feel the shadow of the top just hanging over his head.
How dare you? How dare you suggest that this is what I wanted? You pushed me, you disgraceful beast.
I am absolutely certain that his relationship with the top was deeply personal and very real.
No, what? No, about 2 years? That was meant to about 2 years. Don't even think about facts anymore, actually.
Something to feel.
Obsession, compulsion, so often put in a trio with disorder. But I think it would be a mistake to label all such behaviour a disorder. You do the same things a lot. You repeat aspects of your life over and over. Sometimes it seems like you bypass conscious decision-making processes. But that can lead to wonderful experiences. What is it? Yeah,
recording.
Sort of.
It's saved and I'm recording.
Can we try it again? There's something... It's not you. Angela wasn't quite like that.
Recording.
Could you try a bit? Yeah, but... Just one more. Okay.
Recording. Oh, yeah.
I don't know how he pulled himself out of the hole. I don't know how he motivated himself to stop sitting in his room alone, drinking whiskey and listening to that song over and over again. But he did manage. And all credit to him for that, because that's not an easy thing to do. And he decided to make the journey to Scotland. But what's in Scotland? What's he got to go on? He's got Straven, the name of a town, and this wild-eyed young woman that came in and told him she was a traveller. It's not much to work with. But of all things, Etteridge was not a lazy man. He wasn't even a lethargic man. And that's something else about the nature of compulsion. It makes you do things.
Yes, please.
Maybe you don't question them.
Tell me, do you recognise this voice?
But you do.
Nah, no thanks. I haven't smoked for about 2 years.
Ah, yes. She said she was of a travelling family from the site.
Angela wasn't a traveller. Angela was just someone that needed some money and saw an opportunity.
Human faces are all kind of pretty similar, I always feel. It's just one idea, one model. 2 eyes, one nose.
She was doing what she'd got used to doing. Telling people what they wanted to hear. She'd certainly stopped doing that by the time I met her. Can I catch a roll?
That didn't take long, Dr. McCaskill.
She lied to me.
I tinker, sir. Can't say I'm surprised. Betty always said.
No, that's the point. She's not. She just said she was.
Angela did lie to him. It was almost the first thing she did. And 4 years later, when they met again, it was almost the first thing he did to her.
I've been misled. I'm a man of facts. I came a long way, and now I have nothing. I find it quite upsetting. Perhaps an afternoon pint, settler.
It's 11 a.m, sir.
So Etteridge just started. He went to houses.
So it is.
He went to all the houses of all the singers that he'd been to see last time.
McGuinness, I was wondering, do you know... Mrs. Kinlaw? No. Yes, that's right. No, thank you, no tea. I don't need another recording from you, thank you, but I wondered if I might come in for a moment and see if you can tell me who this singer is.
He logged every call in his journals. The first 3 are marked. Nothing of consequence.
I have only 3 more houses to try, but I booked a train for the day after.
After that, perhaps to save time, or just because he had become despondent, they just marked NOC.
I remain quite positive.
I think what powered him along this quest was just playing that song so many times a day to all the various singers that he spoke to. Etteridge's personality is what would be described as uppy-doony. Massive eyes.
Oh, he's not just singing the news, he's asleep.
That's no problem, not a problem at all.
That's my pal Angie.
So excited by the inkling of clues, so ready for the challenge, and so prepared to travel wherever he needs to go to follow his quest.
Indeed, that is me. I am he, that is I am me.
Aye, it's Angie Dixon.
Where does she live?
She's gone.
Gone?
Aye, doing sooth.
But hit so hard with every disappointment.
She said London, but I don't know.
Do you know who might know? Her family?
No, I doubt it. I think that was kind of the point of leaving.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that. Might you have an address for them?
They run the Cross Keys pub. I'd be careful, mind.
The exact nature of compulsion is hard to pinpoint. An act which is foolish, but you do it anyway. I've seen myself buying fags I knew I wasn't going to buy. And so it is that Etteridge finds himself in the Cross Keys. Etteridge, being Etteridge, kept the doctor's report. 2 cracked ribs, a fractured jaw, morphine and bed rest for 2 days. We don't really know what happened. All we know is that it was Angela's mother that saved him.
Hello?
Ah, hello. Are you the proprietor?
I run this pub with my husband. You want a drink?
No, thank you, madam. I'm actually hoping you might help me with some information. I'm looking for Angela Dixon.
Why? She in trouble?
Oh, no, nothing like that. I'm here to offer her employment, in fact. You see, she made a recording for me.
the fuck are you?
Polis?
No, sir. I make music recordings for research purposes.
Hutton's out for 13. In England, 42 for 1
What do you know about her, Angie? You know where she is? She's 15 bloody years old, you fucking pervert.
I nearly...
England, 52 for 2 wickets.
Sir,
And in trouble.
I am only here inquiring after the whereabouts of the young...
Man, get the hell out!
I just want to know where she is.
England are in a lot of trouble. Indeed, almost everything depends on the man who now comes out of the village.
You fucking ass prick!
Like I say, we don't know what happened. But the story I heard was the mum took out the dad with a pint glass, and that might have saved Etteridge's life.
She's gone to my sister's boy. Radie Taft, Portobello Road. Shut up and piss off.
Ecstatic. Literally meaning outside the body. And with his body crushed and crumpled on the floor of a Straven pub. I imagine Etteridge never been happier. Freddie Taft, Portobello Road. At last he had some facts. What gets in your head? What plays round and round in your head? Whilst making this podcast, I tried to write an annoying tune that would get stuck in your head. Not for you personally, but you know. And I think it's maybe the most annoying tune I've ever written. And it did get stuck in my head. So like that, you know, it was reasonably successful. But the things that play round and round in your head, the moments that you wished you'd done differently, moments where you feel you've embarrassed yourself, things that play out over and over again.
No, we've never met.
It had taken Etteridge 4 years to get to the pub, and then he didn't know what to say.
No, we've never met.
4 years is a long time to go looking for anything. I only spent 3 years looking for him. Some little bits of life stay with you, don't they? And the 14th of December 2016, watching an open university programme I'd already seen and realising we'd run out of milk, I felt the tup return with middle-aged podge and all the heavier for it. We measure a wave from tip to tip. I hit a tip when I started going out. Wild millennial years of synthetic love. But after a few years, some other desire takes over for something more grounded, more tangible. And Etteridge too, the song is powering him through. I see it in his handwriting. But he too yearns for something more. The voice is not enough. He needs to find the singer. If you want to change the wave, you need a disturbance. What plays round and round in your head? And that's what this is. It's a tale of my attempt to disturb a wave, to make a different cycle. Etteridge did the same. He went to Straven and created quite a disturbance for himself. Etteridge had got into a decidedly one-sided altercation with Angela's father, but he had gleaned one crucial fact. Angela had gone to London, to Portobello Road. It was 2 months before he could get to London to look for her. And Portobello Road is long. But in January 1943, at the age of 25, Etteridge set off, in his meticulous way. He just started.
I'm terribly
He started at 1
I'm looking for a
flat 1 of house 1. And he made a note of every house he had not visited.
You bastards.
I'm merely looking for a man named...
You look from the army. I could do with the company.
Well, perhaps... Good afternoon. I'm looking for a man named Taft.
I know what you're looking for, son. You don't need to tell me.
I think I probably would need to, given we've never spoken before.
It took him 5 trips. I would say between 75 and 100 hours of knocking on doors, split over 3 months. Searching and researching. That's what Etteridge did. This is where he shines, because he's going to go to every single flat until he finds the one that he's looking for. I think he was probably quite happy doing it, to be honest.
Good evening. Sorry for calling at such a late hour.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Are we disturbing you? We don't have a place to meet.
This is a lovely little side story. As a direct result of this search, Etteridge discovered the singing of Cantor Ernest Levy.
That is beautiful. May I stay a while and listen?
Of course.
The recording we can hear here was made much later.
Come in, please.
But the two of them became firm friends, and Etteridge actually wrote a pretty decent paper on cantorial singing in the UK.
Child of Abraham, too. You have the look now.
Well, my father had some Welsh blood.
Taft? Why?
It's of a personal nature.
And most things that involve a person?
Yes, I see we share a love of semantics.
Why you want with Taft?
Well, to be honest, it's not Taft I'm looking for, but rather a young lady I believe he resided here with.
Personal nature. Well, this much I'll tell you. Taft and that young lady, who ain't much of a lady, left here, left me on 3 months rent to pay. You see him, you tell him.
So she was here? Do you know where they are now?
As it happens, I might. He left a forwarding address. Cheeky rascal. He don't get no mail. Gone to send Eleanor somewhere.
But looking for things is a finite task. It's an interesting task. If what you like to do is start with a massive list and start to knock things off, and Etteridge did.
I got it just here.
A list is relaxing, you just work through it.
There you go. And some.
St. Helens.
Like I said. You're staring love. Maybe you want a little company? Cheap for you? Your accent drive me crazy.
Thank you, then. Goodbye.
Etteridge had devoted 6 months of his life to this task by the time he got to St. Helens.
Hello.
Yes, can I help you?
You're not Scottish.
What do you want?
Forgive me, please. I'm searching for a man named Taft.
Freddie? What do you want him for? You from the Navy?
No, I'm searching for a young lady from Scotland. Angela's her name. I believe she's Mr. Taft's cousin.
Yeah, I met Angie, yeah.
You've met?
Fred left with the Navy. I hope. I don't know where he is or if he's coming back. Angie, gone. Like, gone, no idea.
Do you have any,
Look, I'm sorry, I've got to go.
I'll return to see if you have news in a couple of weeks.
Patience was not a problem for Etteridge. He went to St. Helens every 2 months for 3 years.
You the guy?
I believe I may well be.
You must have it fucking bad for Angie, pal.
Well, if you do know anything of her whereabouts...
I'm away up to Glasgow for Christmas. Wee family reunion. Angie might come on. Dunno.
Then I shall visit you in the new year, sir, and hope for news.
Aye, if you want, pal, but seriously, plenty fish in the sea. And I should know. I just been on a boat for 3 fucking years.
He sounds pretty chipper at his annual Boxing Day recording of the Sword Dancers.
10:33 a.m. December 26th, 1945, Sheffield, South Yorkshire. The Sword Dancers are a little disappointing this year.
I mean, Etteridge's chipper takes a while to get your ear into.
Happy New Year to you, Mr. Taft. I wondered if you had any news.
You are really stuck on this horse, aren't you, mate? I've never asked your name, I realise.
Fitzroy is my name. My father is the Duke of Bedford.
Duke, eh? I do have a wee bit of information on Angie, as it happens. What you want, ma?
My interests are personal.
Aren't everyone's, pal? You prepared to show your gratitude for this information?
Perhaps a shilling will suffice?
Perhaps it won't.
Yes,
right. Ma got a letter. Angie works at the Vimto factory in New Cross.
Thank you. Thank you. This is wonderful.
Don't know if it's wonderful. She'd bite your fucking ear off, that one.
I can't give you an address, sir. Against regulations. All that lot drinking the Crown on Fridays. You'd probably find her there.
Many thanks.
Etteridge's preferred pub would be an empty pub. Not great with crowds.
There you go, mate. There's your Scotch bird.
Which one?
You don't know what she looks like?
Honestly, I couldn't believe the cheek of him. And then his pal turned round, said the same thing. No, right, I will. I'll tell you what I said to him, right? But not till I've got a drink.
Scottish?
Yes. Bachelor?
Yes, as it happens. No, I mean to say, Scottish.
Aye, Scottish. You after a dance?
No. I'm looking for a translator.
From Scottish. You know we speak the same language, pal.
Well, I'm not sure I agree. Oh, yes, indeed. I'm looking for a translator from Scottish. I have a number of important recordings of Scots, and I can't for the life of me work out what they're talking about. And so...
About?
Pardon?
What they're talking about.
Oh! Yes, quite.
Have we met before? Do you drink in here?
No, we've, never met. I live in Oxford. I'm just here looking for...
Looking for a Scot? In London? I won't skate round it, pal. You're peculiar. Where is this job?
In Oxford. At the university.
Look, I've got a job, mate. I'm living big. I'm hardly the university type.
Do you enjoy it? In the factory?
Certainly done worse things for money, pal. But it makes you thirsty by Friday, I'll tell you that much.
Really, I think you'd absolutely
Rosie.
love this.
Triple gin, please, no water.
My card. If you change your mind. Goodbye.
Etteridge went back to Oxford. Returned to his room, returned to his work. The wave can be measured from tip to tip, or trough to trough. They're the same length.
Gone.
Etteridge was in that trough for almost 6 months, poor man.
Always there.
What if he'd done it differently? What gets in your head? What plays round and round in your head?
No, we've, never met.
Etteridge is convinced he'll never see Angela again.
Sorry, I met her. I shouldn't have met her.
It's just him, and the song, and the tub.
How can I please you? How can I please you?
Things that play round and round in your head. The moments that you wished you'd done differently.
I can't.
Moments where you feel you've embarrassed.
You still need a translator?
Angela. Terrified, with a black eye. But Angela. Thank you for listening to this first half of the Omnibus edition of The Portal. The Portal will remain free to listen to, but if you'd like to support the project, the single most wonderful, brilliant, utterly fantastic thing that you can do for us is to introduce a friend to it. It really does make a massive difference. The music album is available from my website or from Bandcamp. The Portal was directed by Wils Wilson. Etteridge was played by Dylan Reed. Angela from 1966 to 2017 and Angela's mum were played by Alison Peebles. Angela from 1943 to 1966 was played by Anna Russell Martin. Mary and the landlady were Amanda Wilkin. Fiddle player, Peter, Freddie and Angela's dad were played by Adam McNamara. TV presenter and hotelier by Owen Whitelaw. Jill was played by Nadia Albini, and Heather by Jessica Hardwick. MG was played by Martin Green. Dramaturgy by David Greig. Script, sound and music by Martin Green, featuring Yasaman Najmeddin on Qanun, Radie Peat as the voice of the song, Brìghde Campbell on small pipes in C, James Holden on synthesizers, drum machines and floor fill-in bangers. The music of Jacques Chapeau-Chien was written and performed by Adrian Utley. Other guitars and synthesizers also by Adrian Utley. Voice and fiddle by the amazing Kate Young. Music stems mixed by Tucker Martin. Voices recorded by Louis Blatherwick. Podcast mixed by Calum Malcolm with Cameron Malcolm. And many thanks to Eloise Whitmore for invaluable help with sound. The script editor and executive producer was Polly Thomas. You heard the music and dancing of Boss Morris. Many thanks to Boss, who have been totally brilliant throughout this project. You heard the Newcastle Kingsmen rapper dancing. Go and see both those teams, they're totally fantastic. You heard Devil's Dyke Morris dancing in the Dawn on Wanderbury Hill in Cambridgeshire. They still dance at Dawn on the 1st of May. Go and get in touch with your inner Etteridge and go and see it. You heard a recording of L'Char Dodi by Cantor Ernest Levy, reproduced with kind permission of Judy Russell and the Jewish Music Institute, and huge thanks to them, and especially to Phil Alexander for helping us source this beautiful piece of singing. Produced by Martin Atkinson for Lepus Productions. The Portal was commissioned and presented with Edinburgh International Festival, South Bank Centre, Oxford Contemporary Music, National Theatre of Scotland, Shetland Arts, the North Wall, Bristol Beacon and the Bristol Music Trust, Mac Art Scala Shields, and was funded by Creative Scotland. Produced by Lepus and Naked Productions. See you in episode 2.